Hey creatives, welcome to our YouTube channel. This is our very first floral instruction video where we're going to show you how to use our Petal Puncher 01. Right now I am just taking the rolling pin and adhering the clay to the tile just by softly rolling it on. I'm just making sure there's no air pockets between the clay and the tile. That way we can make sure that the petals don't lift up with the cutter when we cut the petals out. This is the petal puncher I'm using for this video. It is our Petal Puncher 01. I am just stamping it into the clay, pushing it down all the way and lifting straight up. I'm going to be doing a few different techniques for this video with the same puncher. So I'm just going to go ahead and punch out a few of these. One of my favorite things about this type of petal puncher that has different layers to it is that instead of placing individual petals, this is more like puzzle pieces that fit together and make it very seamless to create a flower, and is a really good entryway into making florals. Now I'm going to lift the excess clay from the tile, and this was actually a really good pull. It was very satisfying. So once we remove the clay from the tile, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to gently lift one or two of the petals up and then pull the rest of the clay off the tile. This just ensures that any remaining clay stays on the tile. When I go to swipe with my X-Acto knife, I make it parallel to the tile as much as I can at an angle, and then I pull straight up once underneath the clay. Okay, let's speed this process up. I'm going to be building our florals today on this floral acrylic plate. It is a new product that we're going to add to our website this coming weekend. Typically I would use this tile to build florals on, but for me personally it gets heavy after time, so this acrylic plate is light and very easy to hold. So I am taking 3 petals and putting that onto the acrylic plate. I'm going to use this ball tool in order to roll the petals out. So when I roll these petals out, I use a motion of swiping side, side, and up. I continue to make my way around each petal. I'm using a larger ball tool because it gives more of a smooth, rounded look and kind of lifts the petal upwards like naturally like a flower would be. When using micro petal punchers, the larger the ball tool size is, the smoother the petals are going to be, and the smaller the ball tool is, the more texture you're going to get when you use it on the petals. If your clay is very sticky and not coming off your X-Acto knife, the tile, or your ball tool well, I would consider leaching your clay. It's where you take a piece of white printer paper, fold it in half, stick your clay in between it, maybe put a book on it, and give it maybe like 10 minutes or so to sit in between the paper so it can soak up the extra oil. In this close-up here, I wanted to show y'all that if you do not apply enough pressure to your ball tool when swiping it and pressing into the petal, it will lift up with your ball tool off the foam pad. So when you are applying pressure to roll out each petal, it's important that you put enough pressure and enough swipe to the side in order to release the petal from the ball tool. It might feel a little tricky at first, but I promise you'll get the hang of it and find your own technique and way to be able to release the petal from the ball tool. Next flower, we are going to be using a smaller ball tool. This ball tool is going to give more texture to the petal, so you'll already see that you see little divots. It's not as smooth as the larger ball tool. As I flip this petal around and try to roll it out, you'll figure out what works for you. I was trying not to get my fingers in there to block what I was doing so y'all could have a good clear vision and see. However, typically I would be anchoring this down with my finger on one side and then the ball tool on the other, working out each petal. And here I go, trying to hold it down so y'all can get a better look at what I'm trying to accomplish. I make this texture all the way around each petal by starting in the center of the petal and moving the ball tool outwards to create more of a texture towards the end of the petals. And here you can see this layer of the petals coming to life with the texture being added. So excited to put this one together. Depending on what type of texture you're going for will absolutely depend on what type of ball tool you choose for the look that you are trying to achieve. And once I have all these petals rolled out, for each flower set, I'm going to do 3 flower sets today with 3 different ball tools. I will start to build them on the floral plate and show you all the difference between all the different textures that we are learning today. Speed it up so I can complete the petals with this technique. Now we're going to use this really tiny ball tool to give texture to the next set of petals for a new flower. Still using my finger to anchor down the petal, just because I find for me that's the easiest way so it doesn't roll all over the mat. Since this ball tool is smaller, I'm able to get more texture on each petal. So I am pulling the clay from the middle out to the tip of the flower, and it's creating this like ruffled look effect that I feel like is more of like a natural look as well to each petal. As I go around in a circle, you'll see each petal start to come to life, and then there's a better visual for what the flower is going to look like. I'm really pumped for this one. I love texture on flower petals. It's one of my favorite things, so I can't wait to continue to show y'all what we have in store. Kelly and I are so excited about this Facebook community floral page and just sharing all our tips and tricks we've learned over the years. So here's a top-down view, so you can just get a closer look of how I'm taking the ball tool in the center of the petal and pulling it down to give it that ruffled, rippled look on the edge of the petals. And I'm going to make my way all the way around each petal, loving this texture. It's so stinking cute. I hope that you guys are enjoying it too. I'm going to be using the same technique for the individual petals next. Don't be afraid to get in there and give it a lot of texture. Those are going to go in the center, the top of your flower, so they're going to be seen first. So even if they look a little oblong or a little organic, that is perfect, exactly what we're looking for. The more organic look of the petal, the more natural the flower is going to look once you put it together. Here comes my favorite part. With the floral plate in my left hand, I'm going to use my right hand and my modeling tool to start building the florals. So each layer I put down, I will tend to play with the petals a bit and get them to curl or move in a direction that I think is going to be best per each layer. And then I'm going to grab the next smallest layer and add it on. I push the modeling tool into the center, kind of folding each petal into itself. I'm adding the next layer, and you can choose what layers you want to use with this tool. This is just what I chose to keep the 3 florals consistent across the board as I show these 3 different techniques, so you can just play around with it and see what works best for you and what look you're trying to achieve. Now I'm adding each individual petal. I'm trying to choose the right ones that I feel like are going to fit perfectly in the middle. I'm glad that I'm holding it closer, that way y'all can get a better look into when I press them down. And yeah, I'm just folding and curling those petals over to give it more of a natural look. So now we're starting with the next textured flower. So this one has a little bit more texture to it. It was the medium ball tool that I had used. And yes, I am curling the petals over, trying to get that look, that desired look that we're going for. Glad that I'm holding it closer in this moment and just feeding those layers into the center and pushing down in so they curl. While I'm finishing up this last 3 petals, I just wanted to say that with this floral plate, we are going to have y'all be able to send us a copy of your logo so we can put your logo in the middle of the plate. So while you create in your reel videos or your YouTube videos, that people will be able to see your logo, and it'll just give better marketing, and also it's just so stinking cute and aesthetically pleasing, which of course I love. Next, we're gonna add the very last petal to the second flower technique that we're working on to finish the look, and I think I'm going to curl one of those petals over a little bit just to give it its finished touch. So those are what our 2 flowers look like so far, one with the smooth larger ball tool, one with the medium ball tool, and now we are going to build the last flower, the 3rd flower style, which was with the smallest ball tool and the most textured look. Don't be afraid to move your petals around and try to get the desired look that you want to achieve. You'll see, I will take some clay from the center of this petal and squish it towards the middle to shorten the petal a little bit if I feel like one of them are too long. Kind of just like look around and see, is it even, is it symmetrical? Depends again on what you're going for. I'm going to add the second layer. I am tapping the petals to get them to curl up a little bit more. And then of course, when I press it into the center, it's going to fold in even more, which is for me a desired look for this flower. I'm going to grab the next layer, and here I am trying to curl the petals in with one hand, with one finger. And let's focus this here. We're going to push them into the center. Yep, There we go. And now we just need to add 3 more petals to complete this look. I bricklay my layers for my flowers, which means I put the petals in between the space of the last layer. As I'm finishing these last petals, we will flip to the screen next of the finished result. 3 different ball tools, 3 completely different techniques and styles to use with your tools. I hope that y'all enjoyed this. I hope that you liked the finished look. I hope it was educational and helpful. If you have any questions, add them in the comments below. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in and can't wait to see you at our next video.